fucking oath they will.
100%. Like if you don't give a shit about bow hunting, but you're a hunter, then care, because it's only a matter of time before your favourite method of hunting is going to be coming after.
I think one example that I thought of was us hunting community. It's got to act like a family in a way that if our little brother or big brother or whatever's picked on, we'll back them up. Regardless if we get along with our little brother or not all the time, no one else is allowed to pick on him. And the same goes for bow hunting or duck hunting or hound hunting or anything like that. It doesn't really matter what aspect of hunting you do. We all enjoy the same sort of...
We're a family.
Yeah.
So let's start.
We all enjoy it, so back each other up. Get amongst it.
You all know that bows have been around for a long time. They've actually been around for 71,000 years, and they date back to the Sumerians using bows. And how can you stop a tradition that has been going on that long and at some point in our history is a building block of how we survived and thrived? How can you just push aside that history and try to make this legislation in banning a bow?
Yeah, it's a tradition. Like,
It is.
what other tradition would you want to shut down like that?
I'm quite interested in what the rationale behind banning it is. I mean, are they saying that, well, we live in a modern society with supermarkets, there's not a need for it anymore?
So this was pushed by the RSPCA. They deem, because bow hunters and a lot of rifle hunters and all that will go for a chest shot, and they deem chest shots as inhumane and cause unnecessary pain and suffering to the animal. Where they encourage, or they believe, RSPCA believe that people should be taking headshots. Now,
With a bow, that's a bad
I'm sure
idea.
bows and rifles, we all know the complications of a headshot. So I'm not going to get into it, but
Well, no, let's get into it. We've all seen, like even with a rifle, that projectile hit the skull and blow out that bottom jaw, and the animal's still standing there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's no catastrophic damage to its nervous system or its major organs. It's just missing the fucking jaw.
And not to say that a headshot isn't possible. It's just, from my opinion, got a lot bigger margin of error.
Yeah, a lot bigger.
There's less margin of error
Yeah, that's the one.
because it's a smaller target area.
Yeah.
And the whole point here is that as hunters, we practice and we hone our skills so that, yep, there probably are some people that can take headshots every day of the week and never miss. But at the end of the day, you're shooting a live target that can move at the last second. So you've got to take these things into account. That's why you go for something with less margin error, which is chest and lungs.
Yeah.
Heart and lungs, sorry.
One of those things where I guess what you just touched on then, would you be opposed in a licensing and a course to do it? Look, to me, if we can keep our sport and that's what you got to do, okay, I get it. You know, so there's a bit of education behind using a bow and hunting with a bow properly. So you're at least at a basic level when you go out and hunt. I get that. And if it meant keeping the sport, I'd be for it. Do I think it's a necessary requirement? No, because most people, they're not just going to pick up a bow and fucking cowboy it up that night and try and start shooting shit. Most people. There are few that ruin it for the masses.
I'm not sure if it should be a license thing, but there definitely should be programs
Or a
there.
hunter education course.
Yeah, a course is there for experienced bow hunters to teach what they know to people that are getting into it. And I think just, not that everyone will go to it, but it gives the option for someone to learn off an experienced hunter.
I don't see anything wrong with it as sort of a mediation point or a mid-ground to this whole thing of, you know, at the moment you can go out and hunt with a bow and just go buy a bow and go out and do it, right? I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing to have some sort of a permit or a licensing for bow hunting or a minimum age or...
Unless it's unless it shot multiple arrows at, you know, simultaneously or one after the other without any effort.
Is this some sort of semi-automatic joke? Fucking hell. Anyway.
Like Gatling gun and bows.
Back to my point, I don't see if there's anything wrong with introducing that as a minimum. or some sort of a mid ground. But certainly banning it wholesale, I think, is fucking ridiculous, because all it is there's been some negative cases that have popped up in the media, and there was, there's been the one brought up about the seal, or the fucking, we mentioned it, the roo running down Rundle Mall with a fucking arrow sticking out of its head.
Or the cat.
Or the cat, or, whatever else. But that is just the nature of the beast, in terms of there's always a fuckwit in any sort of lifestyle, recreational sport, whatever. There's always going to be those people.
Yeah, people drink drive. People stab people with fucking knives and spoons and shit. Like, whatever tool is available, people are going to abuse it.
There's an option to misuse it if you so choose. So I think there's plenty of education out there. There can be more regulated education for people, or more restrictions around it. But I think banning it is not the answer.
Do you think that they should have courses and licensing, or do you think it should just be squished?
I can understand the reasons behind licensing the stuff, because I saw a comment today. It was about, if we did make it a licensed item, it would stop those people that just buy it off a whim and they use it once or twice at something, just out on a walk or whatever.
Yeah, like you take your fucking, I don't know, 15, you buy a bow, you buy a target, and then you see something run past and you take a poke at it, and then you fucking miss it, or you maim it or whatever. Then I can see where those scenarios happen, but that's just someone being young and stupid.
Yeah. But I don't believe in, if they put pressure on us, we give them something back, kind of thing. Like, why should we give them a licensing thing? Because they've put a little bit of pressure on us.
Yeah, and especially for the few cases out of many, many years of bow hunting in Australia, I don't think it warrants. I personally don't think it warrants any sort of restriction or licensing. Hunters' education, though,
that should be readily available in some way.
We're talking about something that's gone from 0 to 10, though. We're going from no regulation to a complete ban.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with Couchy, though. Like, why give them something just because they're trying to fucking poke the beast?
Well, I mean, that's just mediation, trying to find...
That's mediation, but at the start, unless it came to it, I just don't agree with it, because this is how they do they did the semis and their whole gun control. They're like, oh, we'll let you have some, but... we get some others. And then suddenly, over progression over the next 30 years, suddenly you have to justifying in a fucking 10-page document about why you want a new fucking rifle.
Let me clarify my statement then. I think the first thing to do is fight it and just basically get them to shove it up their fucking ass. But if it comes to it and it keeps dragging out and out and out and out, then I don't see anything particularly wrong with some more regulation or some sort of a license for bow hunting.
So what if
I don't think people should have a license to buy a bow and shoot a target. But to buy a bow and then go hunting with it, I'd be open to a license.
The problem with that, though, is they'll push again. And what do you give them then?
Yeah, the next stage.
You gave them something last time. They push again, they'll expect something else.
Yeah.
They know if we keep pushing at them, they'll cave and they'll give us something else.
So I think fighting it, but fighting it united as hunters, as a collective, and not individual groups and factions and rifle hunters and bow hunters and whatever else. I think just the whole community as a whole needs to be like, no, this is fucked. We're fighting this, and present a united front, and with the same reasoning as well. That's the most important thing, because there's no point people going back and this was brought up in the ADA meeting. There's no point one branch of the ADA responding to something with one message and then another branch responding with a different message. It needs to be a united message, basically, to fight this thing.
And I don't think it needs to just come from South Australia as well, or from Australia alone.
If you're a hunter, well, obviously Australia's having a voice from Australia is imperative.
Yeah, but I think we need, because obviously it started in Tas, now it's coming to SA. It's going to go to different states. If more states they have, the quicker it's going to spread through Australia, and the quicker it's going to spread outside of Australia as well. With how many countries use Australian gun laws as a model with where they want to head. So I think it sort of involves not just South Australians, but Australians. And it'd be great to get international involved as well. That would come through brands and...
Well, yeah, this is a big thing. If a brand was willing to, you know, obviously give X amount of money to the cause, then you'd be able to grease some Polly's pockets and be like, shut the fuck up.